Good afternoon. Today we'll be learning about how to develop IS solutions. All of you should know that developing successful information system solutions to business problems is a major challenge for business managers and professionals today. As a business professional, you'll be responsible for proposing or developing new and improved uses of information technologies for your company. As a business manager, you'll be also be frequently managing and developing solutions, and you'll be involved in development efforts and provide solutions to complex business problems. Most computer-based information systems are conceived, designed, and implemented using some form of systematic development process. So today we will look into two parts. The first part deals with system development and customization. The second part will be with managing the SOA, called as systems development. It's all about project management. If you are involved in designing a software or information system, if you are involved in developing the enterprise's applications, then you need to go through various stages. The first stage involves business planning. The second stage deals with information engineering. The third stage deals with the actual system development life cycle. There are many methodologies which can be followed to develop systems for organizations. You can also, apart from the various methodologies available to develop solutions, you can also implement what is called as rapid action development, or RAD. So today we'll be taking a look at all this and other activities. When you are involved in information systems development, apart from developing the systems, you are also involved in a number of other activities, like investigating the economic or technical feasibility of a proposed application, acquiring and learning how to use the software required, and the implementation of the new system, and making improvements to maintain the new system and acquire value out of the implementation of the system. So today, let us take a look at all this and provide solutions to complex business problems. So before I can start with a discussion on systems development or software development and customization, and before I go through managing the development or going through project management, let me tell you, to succeed in the workplace, good work relationships is a must, and that must be carefully be developed and maintained. Although difficult people, backstabbers, whiners, know-it-alls, and others can make it hard to get through the work week, many coping mechanisms can be put into place that can improve work relationships and improve productivity and communication. In a survival guide for working with humans, author and consultant Guinea Graham Scott offers dozens of practical tools and examples that can help others resolve everyday conflicts and survive their jobs. Okay. So, a survival guide for working with humans offers an eye opening approach for coping with idiosyncrasies and difficulties other people can present in the workplace. By focusing on specific work issues and providing relevant vignettes that describe the work issues involved, as well as a list of instructions to follow in similar circumstances, Scott says that you need to cope with uh, the surroundings. You need to come up with the best of solutions so that you can provide the many benefits that your system can offer to the organization. So, having said this in the introductory part, let me take you what we are going to learn today. We'll be looking into the 7 phases of the system's development lifecycle. We'll summarize the different software development methodologies, and we'll explain why a company would implement a service-oriented architecture. All of you should know that software that is built correctly can transform as the organization and its business transforms. Software that effectively meets employee needs will help an organization become more productive and enhance decision making. Software that does not meet employees' needs may have a damaging effect on productivity and can even cause a business to fail. As an organization's reliance on software grows, so do the business-related consequences of software successes and failures, including increase and decrease of revenue, repair or damage to brand reputation happens, prevent or incur liabilities, you increase or decrease productivity. What do I mean by increase or decrease revenue? Poorly designed software can delay orders, increase excess inventories, and cause earnings to fall below expectations. A repair or damage to brand reputation means customers can become angry if a company breaches their privacy and posts confidential information like passwords and social security numbers to its website. Prevent or incur liabilities. A company called as Foxmare had to sue SAP for $500 million for an ERP failure in the organization. Increase or decrease productivity. Defective software accounts for 45% of computer downtime and costs a fortune to businesses. This particular diagram basically shows how a traditional developmental process goes through along with its associated activities. System development lifecycle is the overall process for developing information systems, from planning and analysis through implementation to maintenance. This 7 phases shows the traditional development lifecycle of every new system that is proposed to be implemented. In the planning phase, you need to establish a high-level plan of the intended project and determine project goals. This is the first phase, wherein the systems manager has to develop a high-level plan of the intended project and determine its goals. Next comes the analysis phase, which involves analyzing end-user business requirements and refining project goals into defined functions and operations of the intended system. The third phase is the design phase, which establishes descriptions of the desired features and operations of the system, including screen layouts, business rules, process diagrams, pseudocodes, and other documentation. Next comes the development phase, which involves taking all of the detailed design documents from the design phase and transforming them into the actual system. Then the fifth stage is the testing phase, which involves bringing all the project pieces together into a special training testing environment to eliminate errors and bugs in the software and verify that the system meets all of the business requirements defined in the first phase, the analysis phase. Then you have the implementation phase, which involves placing the system into production so users can begin to perform actual business operations with it. Having said this, the system's development lifecycle can uh, begin once the business planning is done and the information engineering is done. Through the business planning, the business organization uh, recognize recognize its business mission, objectives, and functions, and how this determines its business processes. It involves the technical information system plan. It also involves operational and informational systems plan. It also involves the strategic information system plan. So the operational information plan, the tactical information plan influences the strategic information plan. Basically, the technical information system plan uh, is the phase where the organization decides, the firm decides what will be the technology, what will be the infrastructure, who will design, and who will manage it. In the operational information system plan, uh, this is the phase which is required to identify the operations, the functions, and the process that are to be supported by the new system and the new technology. But the last plan is the strategic information plan. This involves developing the business plan, vision, the objectives of the organization, developing the information system, vision, and defining how information system can improve the performance of the organization. It also determines the justification of the new system for the goal and objective of the business. Then, once the business planning is over, then we are involved in information engineering. Before we come to the SDLC, we engineer the information. It is basically the methodology to build the architecture to plan, analyze, and design, and to implement application for an enterprise. This is executed by enterprise methodology and business area analysis. This comprise of the information architecture is to be built, the business architecture, and the technical architecture. So, what do you mean by the information engineering is that you are involved in enterprise in implementing the enterprise methodology. You are involved in the business area analysis. You are also involved in recruitment and development of the organization's systems specialized or skilled people. Uh, it involves basically two parts, recruitment and data mapping. So, enterprise methodology and business area analysis are the two aspects that you need to take care of in the information engineering uh, uh, phase. So, after that, actually, these 7 phases of the systems development lifecycle happens. If you take a look, the system that you are going to develop and implement goes through various forms of systems testing. You are involved in alpha testing. That means you assess if the entire system meets the design requirements of the users. You are involved in systems testing. That means you need to verify that the units or pieces of code function correctly when integrated. You are involved in development testing. That means the system that is being designed and is going to be implemented needs to be tested. You test the system to ensure it is bug free. You need to also get involved in integration testing. That means you need to verify that separate systems can work together, passing data back and forth correctly. Unit testing is important whenever you are developing a new system. Unit testing is done. That means you test individual units or pieces of code for a system. Finally, you need to also do a user acceptance testing. Once the solution is designed, then you test for user acceptance. That means you need to determine if the system satisfies all the users and business requirements. System implementation methods, if you take a look, can be of any of these types. That means you can implement a new system parallelly. You can get involved in plunge implementation. You can get involved in a phased implementation. You can also get involved in pilot implementation. What do these implementations mean to us as systems developers? If you are having all the time under the sun to design your new system, what you can do is you can go for this phased implementation. That means you install the new system in phases. For example, by department, until it is verified that it works correctly. If you are hard pressed for time for implementation of the new system, you can go for a rapid development of the system by following a parallel implementation procedure, which means you use both the legacy system and the new system until all users verify that the new system functions correctly. So you can expedite the process of designing implementing the solution fast through this kind of a implementation methodology. You can also, if you have time, you can go for pilot implementation, wherein you assign a small group of people to use the new system until it is verified that it works correctly. Then the remaining users migrate to the new system. Or you can plunge into an entirely new method called as a plunge implementation method to fast implement the designed solution. This is an implementation method which discards the legacy systems and immediately migrates all users to the new system. This methodology is followed only when you don't have the time with you to come up with the implementation of the new solution. So, having discussed all the first 6 phases of the systems development life cycle, like the planning phase, the analysis phase, the design phase, the development phase, the testing phase, and the implementation phase, all of you should know the last phase is the maintenance phase. Once an information system solution is designed, you need to maintain the system and maintain it till it gives you the required results. All of you should know that information systems designed and developed have their life cycle. They are born and they have their gradual death also. With changing circumstances, the old system may give way to the rise of a new system. But you can maintain it, the old system, for a period of time, which involves performing changes, corrections, additions, and upgrades to ensure that the system continues to meet its business goals. This is important. You need to check whether your old system, is still meeting the business goals or not. Till that point of time, you'll be using the old system. But when it doesn't meet the business's goals, then the old system has to be dropped and a new system has to be planned for, where again you go through the business planning, you go through information engineering, you go through the systems development lifecycle, and you implement the rapid application development process if you don't have the time. This is how it continues. So there are a number of different software development methodologies, which can be the waterfall methodology, or the agile methodology, or the rapid application development methodology, or extreme programming, or rational unified process, or the scrum methodology, which is followed to come up with new software solutions or new IS solutions for organizations. We'll take a look into each of these methodologies and discuss how systems designers or software designers use this methodology to come up with new solutions. If you take a look at the waterfall methodology, you see that all these 7 stages or 7 phases of the systems development lifecycle is strictly followed. You start with the planning phase, you go through the analysis phase, then the design phase, then the development of the new solution, then testing of the solution, implementation of the solution, maintenance of the solution. So this is how the highest time taken for these 7 phases is the planning phase. Business planning, if not done properly, it can affect the system development process to a great extent. So the waterfall methodology shows a sequence of phases in which the output of each phase becomes the input for the next phase. And it is sequential in nature, and this is sequential in nature. And the advantage is that once you fail in a particular phase, you can come back to the previous phase and start afresh again. So basically, the waterfall model is for development of IS solutions is the traditional development methodology that is followed. It takes time to come up with the new software solution for a complex business problem. We can also have the iterative development, which consists a series of tiny projects. The agile methodology is one of the latest methodology, which aims for customer satisfaction through early and continuous delivery of useful software components developed by an iterative process using the bare minimum requirements. Rapid application development methodology can be followed if you don't have the time with you to come up with a new system and in the phased manner, and then implement it to benefit out of the new system. Rapid application development methodology, it emphasizes extensive user involvement in the rapid and evolutionary construction of working prototypes of a system to accelerate the system's development process. There is another advantage for a designer. Before coming up with a new solution, what he can do is he can design a small prototype of the actual version of the system solution and implement it and test it, and then check whether the new system will work properly or not. So the prototype can help to a great extent the decision maker whether that particular new solution is to be implemented or not. So a prototype is nothing but a smaller scale representation or working model of the of the user's requirements or a proposed design for an information system. The prototype is an essential part of the analysis phase when using a RAD methodology of systems development. So this particular slide talks about extreme programming methodology, which breaks a project into tiny phases, and developers cannot continue on to the next phase until the first phase is complete. All of you should know that this is a time-taking procedure, but this can come up with a great solution. We also have the rational unified process, which provides a framework for breaking down the development of software into four gates: the inception phase, the elaboration phase, the construction phase, and the transition phase. So when you go through these four phases, you can come up with a new solution for a typical organizational problem. We also have what is called as the Scrum methodology of systems development. It uses small teams to produce small pieces of deliverable software using sprints or 30-day intervals to achieve an appointed goal. Under this methodology, each day ends or begins with a stand-up meeting to monitor and control the development effort. So basically, these are the various methodologies which are available for solution designers or software designers or information system designers. Either you can go through the traditional life cycle process, or you can go through the rapid development designs. So the systems development life cycle, which is the traditional life cycle that one has to go through to come up with new software solutions or information system solutions. It involves the 7 phases of planning, analysis, design, development, testing, implementation, and maintenance. So you can decide, looking at the time that you have on hand, you can decide whether you have to go through the waterfall model or the agile development model or the rapid application development model, or you can go through extreme programming, or you can go through the rational unified process or the Scrum methodology to come up with a solution for complex business problems. So we have discussed the waterfall methodology, we have discussed the agile methodology, we have also looked into the rapid application development methodology. We have taken a look at that iterative approach that extreme programming methodology takes. We also discussed the rational unified process and the Scrum methodology to come up very fast with software solutions. Last but not the least, all of you should know that businesses or firms, they implement a service-oriented architecture, which talks about a business-driven enterprise architecture that supports integrating business as linked, repeatable activities, tasks, or services. So this particular slide shows the 3 components of service-oriented architecture. It provides a service, that means it provides a business task. It has loose coupling, that means the capability of services to be joined together on demand to create composite services or disassembled just as easily into their functional component. SOA or a service-oriented architecture, the biggest capability or ability of the service-oriented architecture is its interoperability. The capability of 2 or more computer systems to share data and resources, even though they are made by different manufacturers. So with this, we have taken a quick look at the various methodologies that you can follow to develop and customize, to develop and customize, to develop and customize, to develop and customize a business solution or an information system solution. The next discussion that we will have is that once a new system is designed, once a information system solution has been designed, then you need to manage the information system project. So for that, you need to look into project management, because if managed well, it can add value to the organization. So project management, we will take a look at uh, what is project management all about and why it is important to manage information systems development as a project. Today, IT projects are expected to achieve the impossible. You need to overcome numerous constraints, deal with elevated stress levels and imperfect working conditions. So Jordan, a scientist, takes direct aim at the projects that are doomed to fail, presenting specific techniques for managing people and teams. You should have the expertise to manage people and teams while working in projects. You need to choose the right processes to be dealt with. You need to make decisions about the right decisions about the tools and technologies that are to be used in the project to come up with a solution. Uh, you need to get the flexibility you need to succeed. This is important in project management. So you need to have specific techniques to do all this that I told you just now in order to manage people and teams, to choose the right processes, and to make the right decisions about the right tools and technologies that need to be acquired and or developed or implemented. You need to have the flexibility to succeed. So we will try to explain project management and identify the primary reasons for which information system projects fail or the information system solutions don't give us the desired results. We'll identify the primary project planning diagrams. We will identify the three types of outsourcing along with their benefits and challenges in today's session and in the next session. So the primary reasons of a information system project failure are all of these. If you have an unclear or missing business requirement, then your information system solution fails. If you are skipping any of the 7 phases of the SDLC, then also your information system project will fail or your information system solution will fail. If you are failing to manage the project scope, that is the scope creep and the future creep, then also you will be failing with your project. The failure to manage project plan can also lead to the failure of the information systems project. And last but not the least, changing technology also affect projects. And the two information system projects are greatly affected by the changing technology, which happens very fast. The many tangible and intangible benefits that we get from the design of information system solutions. If you take a look, you will see that if you have a good system solution in place, then you will have decreased expenses, you will have decreased processing errors, you will have decreased response time to respond to the requirements of the stakeholders. You will have increased quantity or sales. You will have increased quality also. But many intangible benefits are derived from the new information systems that is designed and implemented. You will have improved decision making. This is very, very important for coming up with a strong and good information system solution. You can provide improved customer service and community service. You will surely have improved goodwill and improved morale of your employees if you have a good system in place. Basically, before a system is implemented uh, or planned, we go through a variety of feasibility studies to check whether the new system that we are going to design is feasible or not, can be implemented or not. So, what are the feasibility studies that you have to go through? You have to go through economic feasibility to measure the cost effectiveness of a project. You need to go through the operational feasibility to measure how well a solution meets the identified system requirements to solve the problems and take advantage of opportunities. You need to schedule the feasibility because proper scheduling of the feasibility measures the project time frame to ensure that it can be completed on time. So technical feasibility is a must for coming up with a new solution. Uh, a technical feasibility is nothing but it measures the practicality of a technical solution and the availability of technical resources and expertise. Political feasibility basically measures how well the solution will be accepted in a given organization. Legal feasibility, if you carry out a legal feasibility, it will measure how well a solution can be implemented within existing legal and contractual obligations. So basically, these feasibility studies are very, very important before we can even think of planning, designing, and implementing IS solutions or software solutions. If you take a look, this shows the graph of the costs involved for the development of a system and for going through a systems development life cycle phases, the various phases of the systems development life cycle. Okay. The cost of fixing errors in the SDLC process, the cost of fixing error, you need to keep track of. The cost of finding errors, you'll see that it grows exponentially. The later the error is found in the systems development lifecycle, the cost increases. So an error found during the analysis and design phase is relatively inexpensive to fix. You need to know. You need to know also that all that is typically required is a change to a Word document. However, exactly the same error found during the testing or implementation phase is going to cause the organization an enormous amount to fix because it has to challenge or change the actual system. Find errors early. Yeah, this is the best way to come up with the new solution. You have to check errors early. The later in the SDLC an error is found, the more expensive it is to fix. All of you should know. Using project management to deliver successful project, you need to know that analysis and the analysis of analysis, data analysis, predict investment in MIS projects worldwide, and the investment is over $1 trillion. 70% of this will be lost due to failed projects. So you can imagine how much of these information projects fail. It's because of many reasons. The consequences can be damaging. So the consequences of a failed project, all of you should know. Your brand may get damaged. You can lose goodwill. Your partnerships may be dissolved. You lose opportunities for investments and you have a low morale. So, handling information system projects should be done with care, with proper training. Analysts, they predict investment in IT projects worldwide are over $1 trillion. This is a staggering amount, and even more staggering is that nearly 70% of this will be merely washed down the drain as a result of failed projects. That's why a discussion on managing the project to deliver successful projects is done. It was seen that in addition to lost earnings, companies from Nestle to Nike have experienced additional consequences of failed projects. Okay. According to the Standish Group, just 29% of IT projects were completed on time within budget. So a project needs to be completed within time and within budget and with features and functions originally specified by the customer to deliver business value. With so many skilled and knowledgeable IT professionals at the helm of IT projects, how can IS projects fail? Every day, organizations adopt projects that do not align with mission critical initiatives. They overcommit financial and human capital. They shine off on low value projects that consume valuable and scarce resources. And they agree to support projects that are poorly defined from requirements to planning. So, the Project Management Institute of India develops procedures and concepts necessary to support the profession of project management, and you can get certified by the PMA Institute. And Project Management Institute has three areas of focus. The distinguishing characteristics of a practicing professional: ethics is kept in mind, the content and structure of profession's body of knowledge, the standards are kept in mind, recognition of personal attainment, accreditation, recognition of professional attainment, accreditation is to be kept in mind, is to be taken care of. Technologies that are used to manage projects are Microsoft Project, Primavera, and Excel. You can use any of these softwares to manage your IS projects to be completed within time and within budget. All of you should know that project management involves managing a project has triple constraints we need to take care of. Benjamin Franklin's timeless advice, all of you should remember: by failing to prepare, you prepare to fail. This adage also applies to software development projects. So the Hackett Group analyzed 2,000 companies and discovered that 3 in 10 major IT projects fail. If that is the case, then you have to be scientific, you have to be methodical in designing IS solutions. 21% of the companies state that they cannot adjust rapidly to market changes. Then also you need to drop the old system and come up with a new system using the various methodologies that we discussed. 1 in 4 organizations validates a business case for IT projects after completion. A successful project is typically completed within time and within budget, and it meets the business's requirements and fulfills the customer needs. The Hackett Group, an Atlanta-based consultancy, analyzed its client database, which includes 2,000 companies, including 81 Fortune 100 companies, and discovered that 3 in 10 major IT projects fail. 21% of the companies state that they cannot adjust rapidly to market changes. 1 in 4 validates a business case for IT projects after completion. Given the list of projects that are to be designed, you need to prioritize them and come up with a implementation for each one of these. Whenever you design a solution in an organization, you need to keep in mind that the accounting system plays a very important role in the running of the organization. So first, what we do is we come up with an accounting system, then we come up with the marketing, sales, logistics, knowledge management system. Once these standalone information systems are designed, then they are integrated to provide a wholesome solution to the organization. Each of the projects that I discussed just now would need to be prioritized based on the business goals, which could change for each business. This particular slide shows that there are three interdependent variables in project management for managing expectations: time, scope, and resources. Time is important, the scope of the project is important, the resources that will be utilized to come up with the solutions are also important, and you need to manage these expectations. If we discuss the three interdependent variables, the three variables are interdependent, like the time, scope, and resources. You cannot change one without changing the others. For example, if you are decreasing a project's time frame, it means either you are increasing the cost of the project or decreasing the scope of the project to meet the new deadline. Increasing a project scope means either increasing the project's time frame or increasing the project's cost, or both to meet the increased scope changes. Project management is the science of making intelligent trade-offs among time, cost, and scope. Time, cost, and scope. So to deliver successful projects, you need to design solutions by thinking about those solutions as projects, and projects are nothing but temporary activities that have a start and an end. They are temporary activities undertaken to create a unique product or service. Project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet project requirements. So you, as an information system designer, will be a project manager, an individual who is an expert in project planning and management, and define and develop the project plan and track the plan to ensure the project is completed on time and on budget. Project management offers a strategic framework for coordinating the numerous activities associated with organizational projects. Have you ever worked on a project? You need to find out what worked well, what went wrong, what could you have done to ensure the success of the project. That is all about project management. You need to also keep track of the project deliverables, like any measurable, tangible, verifiable outcome, a result or item that is produced to complete a project or part of a project is called as a project variable. You also need to keep track of the milestones being achieved. So the project milestone represents key dates when a certain group of activities must be performed. All this is done by a project management office, an internal department that oversees all organizational projects. You also need to know what is the relationship between project deliverables, project milestones, and project managers. Project deliverables are usually project milestones. Project milestones and project deliverables define and monitor and are monitored by project managers. A project stakeholder is part of a project. They are individuals and organizations which actively get involved in the project or whose interests might be affected as a result of project execution or project completion. Every project needs to have a project sponsor, the person or group who provides the financial resource for the project. PMI, Project Management Institute, defines the executive sponsor as the person or group who provides the financial resources for the project. It can be your top boss. However, research also has shown that the leadership strength of the executive sponsor has more to do with the success or failure of a project than any other critical success factor. In fact, the executive sponsor should be accountable to the project team for much more than the financial backing. The executive sponsor communicates up the chain on behalf of the project. He or she supports the project manager by championing the project to others, sharing the vision and benefit of the successfully completed project. He demonstrates the commitment and accountability necessary to survive a project. You, as a student or a designer of a solution, you need to find an answer to the following. Why does an executive sponsor, or why is an executive sponsor so important to a project? Because he is the man who provides the all important money. He is the one who provides the all important support for coming up with a new IS solution. You need to know who can be a good executive sponsor, and how can you recruit individuals with power in the organization to support your projects. You need to know, you need to have an answer for all these questions. For successful objective creation, you need to use SMART. That means when you are coming up with a new software solution or AI solution, you need to be specific. You need to your project needs to be measurable. You need to follow agreed upon procedures. You need to be realistic, and the project has to be completed within the time frame. So the SMART criteria are nothing but useful reminders to the designer on how to ensure that the project has created understandable and measurable objectives. No one would have thought of building an office complex by turning loose 100 different construction teams to build 100 different rooms with no single blueprint or agreed upon vision of the completed structure. Yet, this is precisely the situation in which many large organizations find themselves when managing information technology projects. Organizations routinely overschedule their resources, human and otherwise, develop redundant projects, and damage profitability by investing in non-strategic efforts that do not contribute to the organization's bottom line. Project management offers a strategic framework for IS specialists for coordinating the numerous activities associated with organizational projects. Now, what happens when objectives of SMART are not met? If an objective is not specific, then it is open to interpretation. If an objective is not measurable, then there is no way to determine if the project is on track. If an objective is not agreed upon, then chances are high that the project will fail. If an objective is not realistic, then chances are high that the project will fail. If an objective does not include a time frame, then there is no way to determine if the project is on track or not. So it is advisable for information systems managers to follow the SMART criteria for successful objective creation. Why is the following not SMART? Let us take a look. I'll work hard this semester to achieve my goals, but I could not achieve the goals. Does the SMART not state what the goals are? Does the idea that the state has not been achieved and the goals have not been achieved? Something is not SMART if it does not state how to measure working hard. Something is not SMART if it is not realistic and which is aligned to the goals. Something is not SMART if it doesn't follow a time frame. So a project plan is nothing but a formal approved document that manages and controls project execution. A well-defined project plan should be easy to understand and easy to read, communicated to all key participants. A project plan should be appropriate to the project size, complexity, and criticality. It should be prepared by the team rather than by the individual project manager. So a project plan should be prepared by the team rather than by the individual project manager. Two primary diagrams used in project planning include bird charts and Gantt charts. So the dependency uh, uh, in a bird chart is basically a logical relationship between the project task or between a project task and a milestone. And the critical path per chart is nothing but a path for from the start to the finish that passes through all the tasks that are critical to completing the project in the smallest or the shortest amount of time. PERT means Program Evaluation and Review Technique chart. It's a graphical network model that depicts a project's tasks and the relationship between those tasks. So dependencies and critical paths are found in the PERT chart, and a GNAT chart is nothing but simple bar chart that depicts project tasks against a calendar. So this shows a PERT chart. You can see the red lines that shows the flow of the important tasks that needs to be carried out from the start and the end of the project. This shows a GNAT chart. Uh, the development of information systems can happen in-house or the development can be outsourced. You can develop the IS solution in-house only if you have the professional expertise within the organization to develop and maintain its information technology systems. But many of the companies don't have the professional expertise within. So they go for outsourcing of the design of the solution to be utilized or implemented within their organization, but they pay heavily for the package that they want to procure, install, implement, and use. So outsourcing is nothing but an arrangement by which one organization provides a service or services for another organization that chooses not to perform them in-house. So in the next session, we'll be discussing about outsourcing of software development. But these are the two methodologies you can follow to come up with a new IS solution, either in-house or outsourcing. When organizations have the professional expertise, they prefer in-sourcing or in-house development. But when they don't have the professional expertise, they go for outsourcing the IS development. So thank you.